ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवनं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणशिरघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवान् सगणशिरहितां विशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषावनसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी प्रदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So Hare Krishna, today is very auspicious Ekadashi day, Kameka Ekadashi. So Ekadashi means actually it is called Madhavati because Lord resides in Ekadashi. It's a mother of devotions. So whole idea is of Ekadashi is to come close to Krishna. The upavasa, upa means near, come near to Krishna. The way to come near to Krishna is only by bhakti. Because Krishna say, only by bhakti you can come to me, you can obtain me. In these beautiful verses, Krishna say that bhaktir mamorjita, yatha bhaktir mamorjita. Krishna say the way to come to me is actually through the process of bhakti. Na sadhayati mam yogo, na sankyam dharmodhava, na sodhaya tapastyaga, jata bhaktir mamorjita. So the main point is here that, my dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotee brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity or renunciation. So the upavasa does not necessarily mean that only fasting. Ekadasi does not mean that only fasting. That is also one of the aspect of austerity. But most important thing is that bhakti. And bhakti, and important, the prominent aspect of bhakti is hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, so that we can attain that bhakti, pure bhakti. It is said that unalloyed, Krishna here say that unalloyed devotional service. Unalloyed means it's not contaminated, adulterated. It is not alloyed, not mixed. It's complete bhakti, not karma bhakti, karma yoga, jnana yoga. It is pure bhakti. So how to get pure bhakti? So pure bhakti to get, it is stated in this beautiful verses 12 canto, that to attain pure bhakti one has to yes to uttama sloko gunanubadaha संगीयते अभिक्षणम अमंगल घृण तमेव नित्यं शृणुयाद अभिक्षणम कृष्णे अमलम भक्तिम अभिस्मनः. Amalam bhakti means pure devotional service. So how to attain that pure devotional service? That is given in these beautiful verses, that the person who desires pure devotional service to Lord Krishna should hear the narration of Lord Uttama Sloka glorious qualities, the constant chanting of which destroys everything inauspicious. Devotee should engage in such listening regular daily assemblies and should also continue his hearing throughout the day. So that is the way we can attend the devotional service, which is actually the purpose of Ekadasi. How to attend that, how to come close to Krishna. So therefore, there is a Prabodhananda Saraswati has given a very nice thing that um, uh, if one is worshipping Krishna, what is the use of tapasa tat kim? Aradhanam Krishnam tapasa tat kim? Naradhanam Krishna tapasa tat kim? If one is not coming to the point of devotional service, all his austerity is useless. And if one has already come to the point of devotional service or attend the devotional service to Krishna, so what is the use of this austerity? So therefore Krishna says, Bhaktir mamorjita. By pure devotional service, one can come close to Krishna. One can mamorjita, arjita means one can conquer Krishna. And that bhakti by hearing process. The process of hearing is glorious activities every day. Nityam bhagavata sevaya. Every day. So today we are going to discuss about very important subject matter. This is Canto 1, Chapter 9, Passing Away of Visvambhar. The passing away of Visvambhar is very, very important for the devotee to learn how to successful in our devotional service by remembering Krishna at the time of death. Because time of death is our final exams. Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita, Antakale cha mam yukta kalavaram yaprayati madabhavam atra na sansaya. Krishna say in 8.5 that Antakale cha mukta kalavaram. So at the time of death is very important, because at the time of death, Antakale cha mamema smarana mukta kalavaram. Ya pratisamadabhavam yati nasti atra sansayah. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Krishna very categorically say, undoubtedly one will come to me, if at the time of death. Therefore the final exam is the time of death. Sukadev Goswami also says that. Sukadev Goswami says to Parikshit Maharaj, when Parikshit Maharaj asked the question, at the time of death, what should be our duty? And he answered the same way, that Ante Narayana Smriti. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Bhyam Sodharma Parinistaya Janmalava Param Paraha Punsam Ante Narayana Smriti. So our highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic power, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember personality of God at the end of life. That is the final exam, final success. So now Bhīṣmadeva, today's discussion is that how Bhīṣmadeva is practically showing us that how to quit the body by remembering Krishna. It's not art of living. Krishna consciousness means mastering the art of dying. And that is practical lesson given by a great devotee of the Lord, which is very much misunderstood often by others. Visvambhar, the great devotee of the Lord, teaching us how to quit the body remembering Krishna, how to come out flying colors in the final examination. This Bengali proverb, it is say that Prabhupada used to say, bhajan kara, japan kara, murtu hoile janbe. One devotional service can be tested at the time of death, whether he remembers Krishna or not. If one is doing like a parrot, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna is reciting like a parrot, but there is no feeling, there is no love, emotion. When there is a time of death, dangerous, he will be so, parrot will be say, ka, he will forget Krishna. So if we are not doing sincerely the devotional service, simply superficially on the surface level, sometimes to show off other devotees, to create a very false impression, sometimes to flatter the management, then at the time of death, we are supposed to fail instead of flying colors. So we have to be very rigorously, sincerely prepare for the final exam, and that is our real test. So Visvambhar is showing us how to quit the body. Visvambhar is a great one of the 12 Mahajan. There are 12 Mahajan. 12 Mahajan means they are the transcendental professor, the great devotee of the Lord. So Visvambhar is one of the 12 Mahajan. Is not an ordinary person. Sometimes people misunderstood that, oh, he is in the enemy side. Not only that, he threw arrow, pierced the body of Krishna during the fight, and Krishna got angry. All these things creating just like Bhīṣmadeva is like, enemy of Krishna. It's very much misunderstood. Actually, there's exchange of love between a devotee and Krishna. According to Shastra, there are 12 kind of exchange of the love. And one of the called Veera Rasya. Veera means rivalry. A devotee can be enemy, but at the same time he can be pure devotee. He is fighting with Krishna, at the same time he is designated as a pure devotee Mahajan. That is the exchange. It is stated in this beautiful, it is stated according to Shastra, it is stated that in 19185 CC, it is stated these beautiful verses that there are different rasas are there. The first five rasas are called Santa, Dasya, Sakhya, Vachalya, Madhurya Rasa Nama, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Madhya Pancha Pradhana. The primary rasas are called the five. What is that? Chief transcendental mellows experience with Supreme Personality of Godhead are five. Santa, Dasya, Sakhya, Vachalya, Madhurya. So this is the five primary rasa. Santa means neutral, just glorifying the Lord. Dasya means servitors. Sakhya means friendship. Vachalya means parental love. Madhurya means conjugal love, just like gopis. So another, the next verses he say that there are another secondary rasas. That secondary rasas here given hasya adbhuta tatha veera. Veera means rivalry. That is what Visvambhar is. Veera is fighting. By fighting he become a devotee. So karuna rudra iti api bhayanaka savivasta iti gunascha saptada. Beside the five direct melos, there are seven indirect melos known as laughter, wonder, chivalry, compassion, anger, disaster, and fear. See, this is given by Rupa Goswami, that seven secondary rasa. So Visvambhar is the fighter, but at the same time, although he is fighting against Arjuna, against Krishna, party, but still he is as devotees. When he piercing the arrows, the blood is coming out. Actually, Lord body is transcendental. But Visvambhar actually wanted to see the Lord in that form where Lord flowing hairs and with dusty, because of the crowd, because of all this dust during the war, and blood is coming out. He want to see that beautiful form. So Lord is agreed to that. Although it appeared that Lord is running towards Bhishma to kill, actually it is the exchange of a lover is running to another lover. Vishwanath Chakravarti say that just like a lover is biting the body of another lover due to the strong sex desire. Similarly, the piercing of the arrow of the body of Krishna by Bhishma is like a lover is biting it. It is not his enemy. It's a feeling, loving feeling. Loving exchange of this is a transcendental pleasure. Krishna is very happy, very pleased. Otherwise, at the time of death, he would not have come to Visvambhar while Visvambhar quitting the body. Otherwise, Krishna would not have inspired Yudhishthira Maharaj to come and learn from Bhishma while quitting the body. Not only that, Krishna is designated that Bhishma is more even glorious than Vyasadeva and other sages. That is the position of Visvambhar. And Sanatan Goswami say that Krishna favors Visvambhar and Vidura is more because they were very well-wisher of Pandavas. Although they are other party, they're fighting on the other side. They are with Duryodhana and company, but they have been always well-wisher of Pandavas, and Pandavas are the devotees of the Lord. So therefore, the position of the Bhishma should not be misunderstood. Should not be misunderstood. Lord kept the promise. Actually, what happened, according to Mahabharata, Bhīṣmadeva was instigated by Duryodhana that you are partial. So Visvambhar promised that I will create a 5 arrow, I will kill the Pandavas next day. But Krishna understood because he is Antarjami, he knower omniscient, he sent Draupadi to beg this 5 arrow. So Draupadi begged it. And Bhishma understood that this is the orchestrated by Krishna. So he promised that you have vowed not to take the arrow, weapon in the battlefield. I will make you to break the promise. So he see Krishna is so much bhakta vachala, so much favorably disposed to the devotee. For the sake of the devotee like Visvambhar, he broke his own promise and took the chariot wheel and rushed towards Bhishma to kill. This apparent, all this atmosphere, enmity, although for a non-devotee it is very bewildering, but a devotee knows that. Shastra says that no, this is the lover is rushing to the another lover. That is Krishna and this transcendental relationship between Krishna and devotees like Visvambhar. Therefore, Krishna said to Durvasa, says Durvasa, Ahami bhakta paradina asatantra ibadija sadhava grasta udaye bhaktir bhaktijana priya. I am controlled by my devotee. Bhakti mamorjita. He is controlled by his devotee. This is a very important lesson. And also very important lesson how at the time of death, even though circumstances may be reversed, one should always concentrate in thinking of Krishna, remembering Krishna, that is the thing. Krishna say also, Manmana bhava mada bhakta mada juk. There is beautiful verses which has been repeated 2 times. So Krishna say that in 934, Manmana bhava mada bhakta mada jaji mam namaskuru mami vasyasi jukte vam atmanamam mata parahana. So Krishna say, engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisance to me, worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So Bhīṣmadeva is showing how at the time of death, things are very disoriented, disorganized, body is very painful, pierced by the arrow, but because of spiritual enlightenment, that is important. This material body anyway is painful. Either it is a good state or bad state, it is always painful. But our spiritual enlightenment is important. If for spiritual enlightenment, so Visvambhar is showing that even he was pierced in so many arrows, he is on the deathbed of arrow, still his spiritual enlightenment, spiritually is unshakable, is determined, is unwavering faith in Krishna. That devotee should learn that. Whatever the circumstances, one should remember Krishna. That is our success. So let us come to this point, how the passing away of the Bhishma. So after the Kurukshetra war, there is a massacre. There are so many people, millions of soldiers from the both sides massacred, died, killed. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was very much despondent, extremely despondent. He was thinking, I am the cause of all this massacre. It was not, it was superfluous, redundant, it was not necessary. I am the cause of all these things. So he was not interested to rule this world. And Krishna trying to convince him that this is not your fault because injustice has been given to you. Still, Yudhishthira Maharaj was not convinced by Krishna. Actually, Krishna wanted to bring, that was the plan of Krishna, to bring the Visvambhar, to glorify his devotee. Krishna himself failed to convince Yudhishthira Maharaj. See how Lord plan is so inconceivable. Lord cannot convince, he can convince to Arjun, he can convince to anybody. He is within the heart. But why he failed to convince Yudhishthira Maharaj? Because he has a plan to bring Yudhishthira Maharaj to Visvambhar. Let Visvambhar speak about his wisdom and also glorify Visvambhar. That was his plan. So here in chapter 1 and 9, chapter 1 and 9 chapter, it is stated very nicely. So we can start with this 1, 9, 12. So Bhīṣmadeva, when the Yudhishthira Maharaj came to Bhīṣmadeva, actually Krishna is convincing Yudhishthira Maharaj, you do not know about your grandsire, Pitama Bhīṣma, how he is so great. He is the student of Bruhaspati. He is not only chivalry, he has got a immense wisdom. He knows about every dharma, Raj dharma, Varnashrama dharma. He spoke also very extensively about all the things, Bhagavat dharma, to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So what happened when they came, Yudhishthira Maharaj and Pandavas, everybody came to see the Visvambhar is speaking. Aho kastam aho nannayam yad guhyam dharmanandanaha jivitum nartha kristam vipra dharma achutyasraya. So I am not going to all the verses because it will take time. It has so many instructive. I am going through the most important instruction of Visvambhar. He is speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Oh, what terrible suffering, what terrible injustices you good souls had to suffer for being the son of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under the tribulation, yet you were protected by Brahmana, God and religion. Very, very important. See, Pandavas underwent so much trials, tribulation. Kunti Devi also praying in the Kunti Stuti how they were undergoing so much tribulation by Duryodhana and party. Bhishma was administered poison. This they wanted to burn all the Pandavas in a Lakshyagraha. So many ways they have disrupt the. No, they are attempting to disrupt the Draupadi in the assembly of Kuru. So in this way, they were so much. They usurped the kingdom of Pandavas. So much injustices has been given to these Pandavas. And despite all the things, they were protected. Why? Because they were pious. They were protected by the Brahmana, God and religion. So Prabhupada writing in the purport, Maharaj Yudhishthira was disturbed due to great massacre in the battle of Kurukshetra. Bhīṣmadeva couldn't understand this, therefore he spoke first of the terrible suffering of Maharaj Yudhishthira. This is the first verse spoken by Visvambhar. He was put into difficulty by injustice only. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought just to counteract this injustice. Therefore, he should not regret the great massacre. He wanted to point out particularly that they were always protected by Brahmana, Lord and religious principle. As long as they were protected by these three important items, there was no cause of disappointment. Thus, Visvambhar encouraged Maharaj Yudhishthira to dissipate the despondency. As long as a person is fully cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava, and strictly following the religious principle, one has no cause of despondency. However trying the circumstances of life, Visvambhar is one of the authority in the line, wanted to impress this point upon the Pandavas. See, this is the first lesson. See, everything has got a lesson. We should not understand the Srimad Bhagavatam superficially. Everything, the passing away Visvambhar has so many instructions for the devotees. So here Prabhupada is writing that however trying circumstances, one should be always guided by, one should be always in fully cooperation with the wishes of the Lord. One should not be disturbed. One should always think this is the plan of Krishna. You should not think that how Krishna is so unkind, I am a devotee. neophyte things is like that. Something very adverse situation, they always coming forward to blame, or at least say, Krishna, why did you save? Why didn't you save me? Why me? I did so many things. Actually, this is a plan, higher plan of Krishna. Therefore, one should always cooperate. Arjuna was similarly declined to cooperate with the plan of Krishna. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he understood that I should cooperate with the plan of Krishna. That is my success. Tatteinu kumpa susamikya manaha. There is a beautiful verses in this regard also. Prabhupada used to quote that very nice. Here it is only saying, so I just go back to this one. A devotee, when he is in suffering, so-called suffering, he accepts that it is a mercy of Krishna. Tattenu kampam, and rather thanks Krishna that I had to suffer many more time, but you have minimized it, giving me little suffering. So it is your mercy. If anyone lives on that attitude, everything taken as Krishna's mercy, then is guaranteed to go back home, back to Godhead. Mukti padesha daya bhak. Daya bhak is very important. Daya bhak means is going back to home, back to Godhead. See, sometimes this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was an impersonalist. Then after hearing from after the association or after the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became a devotee. So he, after becoming a devotee, when he read out these verses, he, instead of Daya Bhak, Mukti Pade, he told Bhakti Padesa. He changed it. So immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu noticed it. He told, why you change from mukti to bhakti? No, 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 mukti is not interested. Devotees are not interested by mukti. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained him, this mukti is not the mukti what the other people are, the impersonalists looking for it. This mukti is actually in association of devotees. As long as there is a chance of serving the Lord, so devotees are accepted under any circumstances, whether to hell or heaven. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, do not change this one, because this authority. So Daya back means is going back home, back to God. It is exactly like the inheritance of the property of the son. Mukti padasa Daya back. So we should learn from the Pandavas that Krishna was always present with them. Still they had to suffer so much material tribulation. So they were never unhappy. Neither they requested Krishna, my dear friend Krishna, you are always with us. Still we have to suffer. Never express that. That is pure devotion. Never try to make any benefit. Never try to take any benefit from Krishna. Simply try to give benefit to Krishna. Do not take any benefit from Krishna. This is pure devotion. See how Prabhupada is saying. This is the exact same thing. Visvambhar giving an impression to Pandavas that don't think that Krishna is always with you. This tribulation is you are protected by Krishna himself, by Brahmana, guided by bona fide Brahmana and religious principle you are following. So three things is very important. We have always accept the plan of Krishna. Always should be guided by the bona fide spiritual master or devotees, and always follow the religious principle outlined by the Shastra, Sadhu and Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. That way we will be always protected despite all trying circumstances. So there is a very nice example story of Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada said, perhaps you know the once upon a time Rupa Goswami desired that if I would get some nice food stop, I would have invited Sanatana Goswami and cooked some nice food. He desired like that. They were living in Vrindavan here and there, under the shade of a tree. They had no stock, nothing. So one very beautiful girl came and offered rice, dal, ghee. She said, Baba, we have got some festival in this country. They address saintly person as Baba. So she offered so many things, and he immediately invited Sanatana Goswami. They were living separately. And Rupa Goswami was very good cook, and also he prepared very nice preparation and offered to Sanatana Goswami prasadam. So Sanatana Goswami astonishingly inquired that where you got all these nice things in this forest. So he told that whole story that in the morning I desired in just a few hour time, little time, one very beautiful girl came and offered these ingredients. After hearing the description of beautiful girl, Sanatana Goswami could understand that she was Radharani. So immediately chastised Rupa Goswami that you have taken service from Radharani. That is not good. We are trying to give service to Radharani. You have taken the service from Radharani. This is Vaishnava consideration. They are firmly determined not to bother Krishna with anything. Simply serve him. Anukulyana Krishna anusilanam. So nice. How is so much related. So without following the Acharya, we cannot understand what is Vismadev Stuti, what is really implication, the instruction of Vismadev. This is only, it is revealed by the Acharya, revealed by the great devotee, Srila Prabhupada and predecessor Acharya. So after that, Vishmadev told, in my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. So this inevitable time, there is a control by time all over the space within the universe. There is control by the time all over the planet. All the big gigantic planet, including sun, are being controlled by the force of air. As see, clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, inevitable color, time, control even the action of air and other elements. Everything therefore is controlled by the supreme Kala, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Just Yudhishthira should not be sorry for inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the action and reaction of time as long as one within the condition of material world. So this is very important thing, how time is powerful. Kalosmi, Krishna say, I am the time, time is the representative. Everybody is carried away by time. Time factor. There are beautiful verses on this regard in Bhagavatam. eh, That how time factor is very, very important, and everything was carried out by the time. There's a beautiful the influence of time is so important. This is the beautiful verses about time. They say that the influence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is felt in the time factor, which causes fear of death due to false ego of deluded soul, who is contracted by material nature. So the time factor is very, very important. Everything will be controlled by the time. Everything will be destroyed by the time. There is another verses in this regard. It is stated that everything will be taken away by the time. Whatever is produced by the materialist with great pain, labor for so-called happiness, the Supreme Personality, as the time factor destroys, for this reason conditioned soul laments. So this time factor is very, very important. Therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj should not be lament for this. So then the very nice, nice things he told at Maharaj Yudhishthira inquiry. Vismadev first defined all the classification of caste order of life in terms of individual qualification. Then he systematically twofold. So then he was speaking about this. This is a verse where he spoke about so many things. So many things. Maharaj Yudhishthira, after hearing Bhīṣmadev speak in that appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all great to say about the essential principle of various religious duty. Bhīṣmadev, speaking in that appealing tone, convinced Maharaj Yudhishthira that he was very soon passing away. And Maharaj Yudhishthira was inspired by the Lord Krishna to ask him the principle of religion. That Lord Krishna inspired Maharaj Yudhishthira to ask Bhīṣmadev in the presence of many great sages, indicate that a devotee of the Lord like Bhīṣmadev, although apparently living as a worldly man, is far superior man, superior to many great sages, even Vyasadeva. Another point is that Visvambhar at that time was not only lying on the deathbed of Pharaoh, but was also greatly aggrieved because of that state. One should not have asked him any question at that time, but Lord Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by dint of spiritual enlightenment. Vishwam punnam sukhayate. Devotee is always happy, always sound in body and mind. Why? Because spiritual enlightenment. That in any circumstances, a devotee of the Lord is thus is perfect, or a perfect order to speak the right way of life. Yudhishthira also preferred to solve his problematic question by asking the Vishmadev rather than anyone else present. Therefore, who was seemingly more learned than Vishmadev. This is also due to arrangement of the great wheel of career. Lord Krishna for establishing the glories of the devotee. So he want to establish the glories of the devotee. Therefore, he asked the Yudhishthira Maharaj, inspired the Yudhishthira Maharaj, asked the question about the principle of religion from Bhīṣmadeva. The father likes to see the son become more famous than himself. The Lord declares very emphatically that worship of his devotee is more valuable than worship of the Lord himself. The Lord could have spoken to the Yudhishthira Maharaj, could have convinced, consoled him, but he wanted, just like a father wanted, the son should be more better than him. Similarly, he declares, Krishna declared Madhavakta Pujyadhika. Madhavakta Pujyadhika. In 11:21:9, it is stated that Madhavakta Pujyadhika. Krishna wants that my devotee should be worshipped more than me. Therefore, he wanted to establish the glories of Visvambhar. He brought Yudhishthira Maharaj to inquire. At Maharaj Yudhishthira inquiry, Visvambhar first defined all classification of caste, order of life in terms of individual qualification. Then he systematically in twofold division described the counteraction by detachment, interaction by attachment. So here it is said that the conception of four caste, four order of life as planned by the Lord himself is to accelerate transcendental qualities of the individual person so that he may gradually realize the spiritual identity, thus act accordingly to get free from material bondage or conditioned life. In almost all Purana, the subject matter is described in the same spirit, and also Mahabharata, it is more elaborately described by Bhīṣmadeva in the Shanti Parva beginning from the 6th chapter. Varnashram dharma is prescribed for the civilized human being just to train him to successfully terminate the human life. Self-realization is distinguished from the life of lower animal engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing and mating. Visvambhar advised human being 9 qualification. Very, very important lesson. Very, very important instruction from Visvambhar, the 9 qualification. Not to become angry. Krishna also say Bhagavad Gita, way to hell. 3 gateway to hell: pride, greed, and anger. So, second, not to lie. Third, to equally distribute wealth, to forgive, to beget children only by one's legitimate wife, to be pure in mind and hygienic in body, not to be inimical toward anyone, to be simple, and to support servant or subordinate. One cannot be called civilized person without acquiring above mentioned preliminary quality. A preliminary quality to make a civilized at least. Beside these Brahmanas, the intelligent men, the administrative men, the mercantile men, and the laborer class must acquire special quality in terms of occupational duty mentioned in all Vedic scripture. For the intelligent men, controlling the senses is most essential qualification. Brahmanas means sama, dhamma, controlling the mind, senses particularly. It is the basis of morality. Sex indulgence, even with a legitimate wife, must also be controlled. Thereby, family control will automatically follow. An intelligent man abuses his great qualification if he does not follow the Vedic way of life. This means most seriously make a study of Vedic literature, especially of the Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita. For learning Vedic knowledge, one must approach a person who is sent person engaged in devotional service. He must not do things which are forbidden in the Shastra. A person cannot be a teacher if he drinks or smokes. In the modern system of education, the teacher's academic qualification is taken into consideration without evaluation of his moral life. That's the difference between spiritual teacher and materialistic teacher. Therefore, the result of education is misuse of high intelligence in so many ways. The Kshatriya, the member of the administrative class, is specially advised to give charity, not to accept charity in any circumstances. Modern administrator raise subscription for some political function, but never give charity to the citizen in any state function. It is just reverse in the injunction of the Shastra. The administrative class must be well versed in Shastra, but must not take to the profession of teacher. Their energy should be especially directed toward killing the thieves, dacoits, the black marketeers, and all such undesirable elements of society. The administrator should never pretend to become a non-violent, thereby go to the hell. When Arjuna wanted to become non-violent coward on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was severely chastised by Lord Krishna. The Lord degraded Arjuna at the time to status of an uncivilized man for his avowed acceptance of the cult of non-violence. See how Lord is degraded Arjuna. He's telling Kutasya Kasamalam. Anarya, you are anarya, you are uncivilized. The administrative class must be personally trained in military education. Cowards should not be elevated to presidential throne by dint of numerical vote only. The monarchs were all chivalrous personality. Therefore, monarchs should be maintained provided the monarch is regularly trained in the occupational duty of a king. In fighting, king or the president should never return home without being hurt by enemies. The so-called king of today never visit the warfield. He is very much expert in artificially encouraging the fighting strength in the hope of false national prestige. As soon as the administrative class is turned into gang of mercantile and laborer men, the whole machinery of government becomes polluted. The voices, the member of mercantile community are specially advised to protect the cows. Cow protection means increasing the milk production, namely yogurt and butter. Agriculture and distribution of foodstuff are the primary duty of the mercantile community. Backed by the education in Vedic knowledge, trained to in charity, as the Kshatriya were given charge of protection of citizens. Vaishyas were given charge of protection of animal, are never meant to be killed. Killing of animal is a symptom of barbarian society. For human being, agriculture produce fruits, milk are sufficient compatible foodstuff. So many Sudra class is less intelligent, should have no independence. They are meant for rendering sincere service to the higher section of the society. Sudra class can attain the all comfort of life simply by rendering service to the higher class. So in this way, Visvambhar is teaching all the things, Varnashrama dharma, sannyasi dharma, all these things, ashrama, whole system of ashrama dharma is meant to detachment. Bhīṣmadeva say that whole ashrama dharma, whether it is grahastha, whether it is banaprastha, whether sannyas or brahmachari, all meant to detachment. One who fails to assimilate the spirit of detachment is allowed to enter into family life, the same spirit of detachment. Therefore, who attain detachment may at once adopt the fourth order, namely renounce, the live on a charity only, not to accumulate wealth, but just to keep body and soul together for ultimate realization. Household life is for one who is attached, and Banaprastha sannyas order of life are for those who are detached from material life. Brahmacharya ashrama is specially meant for training both the attached and detached. So in this way, so Bhīṣmadeva is teaching all this thousand of subject matter with a thousand of meaning. You can see in the Mahabharata Shanti Parva. He then explained by the division of act of charity, pragmatic activities of king, activities of salvation. Then he described the duties of a moment, devotees, both briefly and extensively. Give charity is one of the householder's main function, and he should be prepared to give charity in at least 50% of his hard-earned money. A brahmacharya student should perform sacrifice, a household should give charity, and a person in the retired life or in the renounced order should practice penances, austerity. Those are the general function of all ashramas and order of life on the path of self-realization. In the brahmachari life, training is sufficiently imparted so that one may understand that world as a property belongs to the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. No one therefore can claim to be the proprietor of anything in the world. Therefore, in the life of householder, which is a sort of license for sex enjoyment, one must give in charity the service for the Lord. Everyone's energy is generated and borrowed from the reservoir of energy of the Lord. Therefore, the resultant action of such energy must be given to the Lord in the shape of transcendental loving service for Him. As the river draws water from the sea through the cloud and again go down to the sea, similarly our energy is borrowed from the Supreme Source, the Lord's energy. It must return to the Lord. That is the perfection of our energy. Lord say, therefore in Bhagavad Gita 9:27 says, whatever you do, whatever you undergo as penance, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you eat, whatever you give in charity must be offered to the Lord. That is the way of utilizing our borrowed energy. When our energy is utilized that way, our energy is purified. Contamination, material inevitability, we become fit for original nature. Raja Dharma is a great science, unlike modern diplomacy or political supremacy. Kings were trained systematically to become munificent, not merely by tax collector. They were trained to perform different sacrifices only for the prosperity of the subject, to lead Praja to the attainment of salvation. In this way, so he is teaching so many things. Of course, devotees should know Bhagavad Dharma, But these are the things also we should, because we are in a material world, we should know all the things also. Dharma, kama, moksha. See, he told that he described the occupational duty of different order, status of lives, citing instance from the history, from he was himself well acquainted with the truth. From Ramayana, everywhere he was quoting all the things. So, while Visvambhar was describing occupational duty, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by the mystic who die at their will. So, because he has got Ichha Murtu, he can die at the will. So, Visvambhar preferred this one. Thereupon that man who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meaning, who fought on the thousands of battlefield, protected thousands of men, stopped speaking and being completely freed from all bondage, withdrew his mind from everything else, fixed his wide open original personality of God, Krishna, who stood before him 400, dressed in a yellow garment that glittered and shone. So, in this momentous hour of living his material body, Visvambhar said the glorious example of concerning the important function of human form of life. The subject matter which attracted the dying man become beginning of his next life. Therefore, if one is absorbed in the thought of Supreme Lord Krishna, he is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. And whoever at the time of death quit his body, remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Whatever the state of being one remember, then he quits body, that state he will attain. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. At the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting, which your activities dedicated to me, your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without a doubt. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, O Partha, Arjuna is sure to reach me. One should meditate on Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is the smaller than smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material perception, who is inconceivable, who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, he is transcendental beyond the material nature. At the time of death, one who fixes his life hair between the eyebrow. So Bhīṣmadeva attained the perfection of quitting his body and was fortunate enough to have Lord Krishna, the object of his attention, personally present at the time of death. He therefore fixed his open eyes upon him. He wanted to see Krishna for a long time out of his spontaneous love for him, because he was a pure devotee. He had a very little to do with the details performance of yogic principles. Simply bhakti yoga is enough to bring about perfection. Therefore, the ardent desire of Visvambhar was to see the person of the Lord Krishna, the most lovable object. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Visvambhar had the opportunity at the last stage of his breathing. So this is bhakti yoga, means always think of Krishna at the time of death. No need of so much yogic posture, so much other process. By the pure meditation, looking at Lord Krishna, he at once free from all material inauspiciousness, relieved all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. Thus, all external activities, his senses at once stopped. He prayed transcendental to the control of all living being while quitting the material body. So, Bhīṣmadeva is an example how one can leave the body. So there is very nice verse, this one. This prayer is very, 5 verses are very important. Iti matir upakalpitā vitrṣṇā bhagavati sātvata-puṅgave vibhūmni sva-sukham upagate kvacid vihartuṁ prakṛtim upeyuṣi yad-bhava-pravāhaḥ. So Visvambhar said, let me now invest my thinking, feeling, willing, which were so long engaged in different subject, occupational duty, and in all powerful Lord Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes being the leader of the devotee, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending to the material world. Although it is the form him only that material world is created. So Bhīṣmadeva is wanted to always invest his thinking at the time of death. Krishna is the intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles bluish color of tamala tree. His body attracts everyone in 3 planetary system, upper, middle, lower. May his glittering yellow dress, his lotus face covered with painting of sandalwood pulp, with the object of my attraction, may I not desire fruitive result. On the battlefield where Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of the Lord Krishna turned ashes due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. Because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All this decoration intensified by the wounds on his skin dealt by my sharp arrow were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go on to Krishna. It appears that Visvambhar is repenting the action he committed against the person of the Lord. But factually, Lord's body was not at all pain due to his transcendental existence. His body is not matter. Both he himself and his body are complete spiritual identity. Therefore, Visvambhar's piercing of the body of Lord Krishna is a sort of bewildering problem for the non-devotee atheist. But those who are devotee or liberated soul are not bewildered. Visvambhar appreciated all merciful attitude of the Lord. Although he had been disturbed by the Visvambhar's sharp arrow, he had not left Arjuna alone, nor was he reluctant to come before Visvambhar's deathbed, even though he had been ill-treated by him on the battlefield. Bhishma's repentance and the Lord's merciful attitude are both unique in the scripture. Chakravarti Thakur, great Acharya, devotee in the humor of conjugal love with the Lord, remarks very saliently in this regard. He says that the wounds created on the body of Lord by the sharp arrow, Bhīṣmadeva, whereas is pleasing to the Lord as is biting his fancy when she bites the body of the Lord, directed by the strong sense of sex desire. Such biting by the opposite sex is never taken as a sign of enmity, even if there is a wound on the body. Therefore, the fighting as an exchange of transcendental pleasure between the Lord and the pure devotee. Sri Visvambhar was not at all mundane. Besides that, since the Lord's body and the Lord are identical, there was no possibility of wounds in the absolute body. The apparent wounds caused by the sharp arrow are misleading to the common man, but one who has a little absolute knowledge can understand the transcendental exchange in the chivalrous relationship. The Lord was perfectly happy with wounds caused by the sharp arrow of Visvambhar. The word Vidhatmana is significant because Lord's skin is not different from the Lord, because our skin is different from our soul. In our case, word Vividyamana or being bruised and caught would have been quite suitable. So this is actually the real understanding that how Lord is not angry on this. It's not angry that he was ill-treated by Bhishma. In obedience to command of his friend, Lord Krishna entered the arena of battlefield of Kurukshetra between soldier of Arjuna and Duryodhana. And while there, he shortened the lifespans of opposite party by his merciful glance. This was done simply by looking at the enemy. Let my mind be fixed upon Krishna. See here it says that Lord diminishes the duration of life of the opposite party by his merciful glance. It is said that all the fighters who assemble on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attain salvation by personally seeing the Lord at the time of death. Therefore, his diminishing duration of life, Arjuna's enemy, does not mean that he was partial to the cause of Arjuna. Factually, he was merciful to opposite party because they would not have attained salvation by dying at home in his ordinary course of life. Here was a chance to see the Lord at the time of death, thus attain salvation from material life. Therefore, Lord is all good. Whatever he does is also everyone's good, for everyone's good. Apparently, it was for the victory of Arjuna, his intimate friend, but factually it was for the good of Arjuna's enemy. Such are the transcendental activity of the Lord. Whoever understands this also gets salvation after quitting this material body. Lord does not wrong in any circumstances because he is absolute, all good at all times. It is stated in so many other verses also. 11:550, that how for enemy also whomsoever Lord kills, they get salvation. So therefore, this merciful glance to opposite party. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldier and commander before him on the battlefield, Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. So this is Bhagavad Gita was spoken to the Arjuna because he was in illusion, seeing all the greats of relatives. Fulfilling my vow, sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment. So this is all his remembering Krishna's pastime activities during the Kurukshetra war. May Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who our salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me if angry because of the wound dealt by my sharp arrow. His shield was scattered, his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. The 11 verses he spoke, very nice prayer. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction to be Krishna, personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon Arjuna's chariot driver, who stood with a whip in his right hand, bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him in the battlefield Kurukshetra attained their original form after death. So this is very important. So here it is said that pure devotee of the Lord constantly see the presence of the Lord within himself because of big transcendental related by loving service. Such a pure devotee cannot forget the Lord for a moment. This is called trance. Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Krishna, whose motion smiles of love attracted the damsel of Brajadham. The gopi, the damsel, imitated the characteristic of a movement of the Lord after his disappearance from the Rasa dance. This is what how intense ecstasy in loving service the damsel of Brajamumi attain qualitative oneness with Lord by dancing with him on an equal level, embracing him. This is all rasa dance is remembering, the pastime of the Lord. At the Rajasya Yajna sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was the greatest assembly of all elite men of the world, the royal and learned orders. In that great assembly, Lord Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence. I remember the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. See, this is what how a person should remember the activities of the Lord. Janma karma chame divyam, ante narayana smriti. All these activities of the Lord one should remember the pastime of the Lord. Now I can imitate with full concentration. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Now the present before me, because now I have transcended the misconception of duality in regard to his presence in every one heart, even in the heart of the mental speculator. He is everyone heart. Son may be present differently, but Son is one. Very important. So this Krishna is always one. Sometimes the worshipper says Brahman, his Paramatma, his Bhagavan, Supreme Person. That is according to the worshipper's perception. But Son is always one. Krishna is one. Advayam, Advaya Jnana. So in this way, so Bhīṣmadeva is prayed 11 verses glorifying the Lord. Thus Bhīṣmadeva merged himself in the super soul, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, action. Thus he became silent, his breathing stopped. The stage attained by Visvambhar while quitting his body is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because he merged his self into the thinking of the Lord by engaging his mind in remembering the Lord's different activity. His speech in chanting the glories of the Lord, his sight in seeing the Lord personally present before him. Thus all his activities became concentrated upon the Lord without deviation. This is the highest stage of perfection. It is possible for everyone to attain this stage by practice of devotional service. The devotional service of the Lord consists of 9 principles of service activity. They are hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, worshipping, praying, executing the orders, fraternizing, and fully surrendering. Any one of them or all of them equally competent to our desired result, but they require to be practiced persistently under the guidance of an expert devotee of the Lord. The first item, hearing, is most important item of all. Therefore, hearing Bhagavad Gita, later on Srimad Bhagavatam, is essential for serious candidate who wants to attain stage of Visvambhar at the end. The unique situation at Visvambhar time of death can be attained even though Lord Krishna may not be personally present. His words, Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, are identical with the Lord. There are sound incarnation of the Lord. One can fully utilize them to be entitled to attain the stage of Bhīṣmadeva, who was one of the 8 Vasus. Every man or animal must die at the certain stage of life, but one who dies like Bhīṣmadeva attains perfection. And one who dies forced by the law of nature dies like an animal. That is the difference between a man and animal. Thus, human form of life is specially meant for dying like Bhīṣmadeva. Beautiful. So this is the learning how one should absorb at the time of day, thinking of the past. And for that one should engage in devotional service, particularly hearing. Prabhupada said to hear Bhagavatam. A devotee is not hearing, simply eating. What is that? Ekadasi means what? Ekadasi means 11th. 11 senses are engaged, just like Ambrish Maharaj. Savai Manaha Krishna, Vaikuntha Gunanuvandana. All his 11 senses is used. in the service of the Lord. Therefore, we should engage all our senses, mind, intelligence, everything in the service, remembering Krishna's pastime. That is the perfection. We should quit the body like Visvambhar. That need practice abhyasa yoga yuktena. So this is a very important lesson given by Krishna, given by Bhīṣmadeva to everyone. So this is the very important Ekadasi day. We should be very much, you know, more concentrated on this, always hearing the pastime of the Lord. Hearing is very, very important. Savai Krishna Jasyang Bhai Sriyamanam Krishna Parama Purushe Bhakti Utpadate Pumsa. By hearing one can develop the love of God. So therefore Prabhupada is emphasized on hearing this one. Therefore Prabhupada say that who anybody in this Prabhupada say in this purport, all the devotee connected with Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books must have been translated, that have been translated, the Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep and fall down from the position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain the eternal blissful life of transcendental bliss. That is the injunction of Shastra and Prabhupada, that um, one should always hear the Krishna Katha. Hari Katha attracts Hari, and one can easily go back even in this life. There's a verse is say that in this life also, let me find out the verse, in this life also one can go back by simply by hearing process. Let me see whether this is the verses or not. No, there's a verse is there. It is say that in this life one can go back to Godhead. Let me find out this verse. It is 5, 12, 16, I think. Last verses of 5. Let me see this one. Yes. In this life one can go back to Godhead. It is said that this verse, simply by giving up the association of worldly people, associating with exalted devotee, anyone can attain perfection of knowledge. With the sword of knowledge can cut into piece of illusory association within this material world. Though the association of devotee one can engage in the service of the Lord by hearing and chanting, Sravanam Kirtanam. Thus one can revive his dormant Krishna consciousness, sticking to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, return home back to God and even in this life. That is the bottom line. That is the real teaching that one should associate, because one cannot hear Krishna Katha from Tom and Dick and Harry. One should associate with devotees and discuss here. That is the formula. So thank you very much. Today is very Ekadasi day, and hearing is more benefited on this Ekadasi day. The purpose of Ekadasi to increase our hearing and chanting. That was whole purpose of Ekadasi. Thank you very much. Wish you all a blissful, blessed Ekadasi, Kamekya Ekadasi. Hare Krishna, Ganthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.